This regular meeting of the Navasota City Council is called to order on Monday, the 24th of April, in council chambers. Let the record show all council members are present, with the exception of Council Member Peterson. Welcome and thank you for being here tonight. We ask that you put your cell phones in the silent mode. And visitors, please sign in. If you wish to speak under visitors' remarks, fill out the form found in back. State your name and address at the podium, as we must document all meeting business and remarks limited to 3 minutes. Tonight's invocation will be led by Mr. Holt and followed by the pledges.
God, our Creator, you give us life and support us with your love. We ask that you send your spirit of compassion to dwell in our midst as we meet here this evening. Help us to be respectful and just in our discernment and our decisions. May we be ever mindful of the needs of all in our community, and to help us to honor one another in courteous manner. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Marks of visitors, I have Mr. Sadoff.
Good evening. Dennis Sadoff. I'm here to represent the Christian Community Services, which operates the food pantry here in Navasota and for Grimes County. We distribute food to approximately 420 individuals per month and 175 households. That has increased by almost 35% since 2022. It continues to rise every month. We usually have anywhere from 5 to 6 new families or individuals that sign up. We purchase our food through the Brazos Valley Food Bank. We also buy auxiliary food from Arlen's, HEB, Brookshire Brothers, and then thankfully we have lots of donations and food drives that people put on during the year, and that supplements our commodities. The amount of food we get from the Brazos Valley Food Bank has been reduced considerably over the last year. We order X number of items and we get sometimes 50% of that. And they don't make substitutions anymore. They used to substitute a lot of stuff if they had some, they would put it in there, but they don't even do that. So we're reducing our food quantities by a considerable amount. And as you well know, the food prices have increased considerably since COVID took on. The request that we're doing right now is we sent out a fundraiser letter, and we're requesting that any business or individuals that would like to conduct food drives for donations to our bank would be greatly appreciated. We also have a website, christiancommunityservices.org, and there is a spot on there where you can actually donate to our corporation. Right now, our last calculation is we can feed an entire family for a year for $348. That's pretty decent, I think. But like I said, it's getting harder and harder, and our funds are becoming harder and harder to acquire. So anybody that would like to do food drives or donations, we would greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, anybody have any questions? Or anyone from?
I don't have a question, except would you put us down? We'd like to have a food drive out there,
I'll do that.
and I think we have a lot of
Okay.
people in our area and anybody else, but you'll just have to guide us through that.
I'll make a note and come out and visit with you.
Okay.
Anybody that wants to, I'm glad to go out and visit with anybody and help you out. We had probably 10 or 12 in the last year. but I would love to do that. I'll come out and visit with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
You bet. May Hill?
Max.
Max, I'm sorry.
Sorry, that was my writing.
I don't read good.
I don't think good.
Max Hill, 8030 Frontline Lane, Navasota, Texas, 77868. Gentlemen, down there at the junction of Fairway Lane and Highway 105, you're going to have a fatality one of these days. The subdivision is growing, traffic is coming out of there, and the oncoming traffic on 105 is heavy at times, and then people are not, a lot of them are not obeying the speed limit of 60 as they approach the city. Some of them are running 70, 75, 80, and 90 mile an hour coming down through there, and you're going to have a fatality one of these days, and it's going to be on you because there's no traffic light there because of the growth of the community. Yeah, I'm just pointing that out to you. I've already seen 4 close calls where it could have been a fatality accident. So I would like you to address it with the state to get a doggone traffic light put there, if you don't mind, if you can do that. So anyway, that's a concern I have for the people in my community there in Pecan Lakes. So I just thought I would address that issue here with you while I'm waiting for another issue coming up. Thank you very much, gentlemen and ladies.
Mayor, just to let you know, staff had a meeting with TxDOT last week to get our monthly update. We did have discussions about the turn lanes out there, as well as the speed zone and traffic study that they've been working on. The person that we needed to discuss about that speed and traffic study was not on the call, and so staff is are waiting for TxDOT to get back with us about that update. I know that I received a call this week from a resident too that is on one of our boards and commissions that lives on Washington Avenue asking about it. So as soon as staff gets that update for that study, we'll be sure to pass that on to those that have been asking about it, as well as council.
Okay.
Thank you.
You know, we paid $150,000 to the state to get that turn lane put in. That's been over a year ago that money was paid to them.
Yeah, so we did we got an update about the turn lanes. Again, it's not out it's still in the design phase. They're hoping to let that project this summer for bids and get that going. The turn lanes will begin at Fairway and go past the new Pecan Lakes Drive. So we're going to get, I think, about 4 turn lanes into that. And so as soon as we know more about the turn lanes, when we get that in, we'll bring that to council as well as to the public, so the public knows more about that project.
Okay. Sir, there's no more discussion about that at this time.
Okay, I was just going to address that.
Okay, staff report.
Mayor, we've got Jennifer Rain is going to give us an update on our CIP projects. I think she's got a map too that she wants to show you as well.
The map will be presented
During the
with Jose's.
okay. Good.
So we'll send you that map in a little bit. Jennifer Reyna, Public Works Director. I'm here to give you our city's capital improvement updates. First, I would like to start out with our 34 fire hydrant replacements. Last week we began the replacement. Our first one was on Peoples Street. And then this week the contractors went out to 10 sites and to prep the sites. And then what they'll do is they'll build the fire hydrants at their location. And then the week of May 1st, they'll come back and they'll begin installing those fire hydrants. So on the average, we'll have 5 hydrants replaced on a weekly basis. So you'll see Kieschnick General Contractors out and around the neighborhood replacing fire hydrants. Next is our Hollister Natural Gas Regulator Station. We had a pre-con meeting on April the 19th. The regulator station is being fabricated as we speak, and what they'll do is they'll do all the prefab work at their location. They'll come back probably around June when that's all finished, and then they'll install it. And then the installation of the gas regulator station takes less than a week. So it's the prefab work that takes the longest. The 2020 Street and Utility Capital Improvement Project, consists of the paving rehab, sewer rehab, storm rehab improvements, and water rehab. That was just improved at the last council meeting. We have a pre-con meeting scheduled this week, and then our notice to proceed will be hopefully May 1st. So we're going to have two projects with the same contractor going at once, but we'll work it out to where it'll all work out on that. The water well survey was completed last Friday, so we're going to have the contractor come to do a presentation, hopefully at our next council meeting, either at the workshop or at the regular council meeting. So we'll have that water well presentation for you guys at our next meeting. And the fiscal year 21 and 22 street maintenance project, that's going to be a line item on today's council, and Jose will have a map up for you, and he'll discuss all the details on that project. The airport AWAS system, it is up and running. It's actually accessed through radio frequency for the pilots, and they can reach that at 120.92 only by radio frequency at this moment. And then once the data system comes in, then it will be accessed by internet or weather service or so on and so forth. So that's that. I'm trying to get that ball moving on delivery. They emailed me earlier this month saying it was sent out for delivery, and I hadn't received it, so I'm going to follow up with that vendor and see what's going on. Right now, that's all I have on the updates. Do y'all have any questions about any of the projects? No? Okay, thank you.
You. We've got a couple of proclamations.
Oh, missed one.
Nope. Did I miss one?
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Tiffany, gosh, no. Shoot me.
Good evening.
Good
Tiffany
evening.
Byers, Library Director. So I was here not too long ago, but we have several events coming up in the next month. And we are so busy on Monday nights that I don't have time to come and announce them to you, so I'm here tonight. So May 8th, we are having a Read Across Texas event. We were selected for a Read Across Texas grant this year. And so that provided us publicity through the Read Across Texas website. That evening, we'll be reading Milo Imagines the World. We'll also have a snack and an activity that are related to the book. And then with that grant, we were able to purchase 9 extra copies of the book that will be doing door prizes. So if kiddos come, they have a chance to win one of the books to take home with them. May 15th, we have a book signing. We have a new children's author in town, Shanalee Charbonneau, and she is going to do a book reading and a book signing. And it's perfect timing because her books are related to moms and dads, and so Mother's Day is the day before that. So if you forget to give mom a Mother's Day present, you can get one that evening, May 15th at 5:30. We also have the Farmers Market coming up May 13th. We have 40 vendors signed up, so from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., come do your shopping with us. And then May 26th, we are really excited. We'll be kicking off the summer reading program. Our theme this year is All Together Now, so it's all about the community and being involved in community service. So we have presenters coming on Monday nights through June and July, and those include Camp Allen Nature Center will be coming, Tucker and Rosie Therapy Dog Show will be coming. Bee Weaver, Texas A&M Forest Service. Our fire department will be back out to do Wet and Wild, and several others. So we're really excited about our lineup. Those programs are going to be on Monday nights in June and July at 5:30. We are also bringing back our Wacky Wednesdays at 1 p.m. and our Fun Flick Fridays at 1 p.m. throughout the summer. And this year we're introducing a new program called Pets with a Mission. And so we will have therapy dogs coming in. The children will be able to sign up to sit and read one-on-one with a therapy dog. So pre-registration is required. Call the library for more information and to get signed up for that. Our Scholastic Book Fair is coming back June 8th through the 16th. So we'll have the book fair set up at the library for kiddos to come and shop. And some of the proceeds from that do come back to the library, which is how we were able to redo our children's area recently and buy new furniture and rugs and things like that. So we appreciate the support. And Nature Camp will also be back July 10th through the 14th from 9 to 11. So we're going to start registration for that. We only have 10 spots available. So if you're interested, please call the library as soon as possible to get signed up for that. And this Thursday, we have a chat and chew with local author Christina Williams. That'll be starting at 5:30. So come out for that. She'll be doing a book signing and a book reading. Any questions?
But wait, there's more.
There is more on my sheet, but I will save some more for next time.
This is National Library Week, right?
It is,
Okay.
yes. So we have
want-
activities every day this week going on for National Library Week. Today was the last day to order Krispy Kreme donuts. If you ordered with us, we
Got my
appreciate
order
your
in.
support. And those will be ready on Friday for pickup.
And tomorrow you go by the library to take a shelfie, not a selfie, right?
Yes.
And tag the library. So if you're out and about, is there a time frame on that or?
No,
anytime
just
during
throughout the day. Yes.
And there's a checkout contest on Wednesday.
On Wednesday, we're going to try to reach our highest number of checkouts for one day. So we're inviting everybody to come and check out a book.
Good.
And then Thursday, we'll do our Step a Bag for $5 book sale to support the library and the summer reading program. And if you come and buy a bag of books for $5, you get entered into a grand prize drawing.
Cool.
And Friday is donut story time at 10 a.m.
Good. All right. I just need to remind her about the donuts.
Yes, I will send you a reminder. Any other questions?
Anything?
All right, thank you.
Thank y'all. Thank you.
Now, Mayor, you've got some
Okay.
proclamations.
Yes, sir. This is National Travel and Tourism Week. I guess, Bobby, would you like to join me up here? National Travel and Tourism Week 2023. Whereas the travel industry fuels every industry and will continue to be an essential part of Navasota's economy, development, and workforce. Whereas travel is an economic powerhouse for every state and destination across the country with an economic output of $2.6 trillion in 2022, supporting 14.5 million jobs. Travel spending supports vibrant and safe communities in Navasota and across the United States by generating $84 billion in state and local tax revenue to support essential services such as education, emergency response, public safety, and more. Travel enables success for all industries, including manufacturing, agriculture, defense, healthcare, and more, by driving sales growth, innovation, education, and operations that move our economy, nation, and Navasota forward. The travel industry cannot recover without the full return of leisure, business, and international inbound travelers. Increasing travel to and within the United States drives America forward to a more prosperous future. Travel industry success will grow Navasota's economy and workforce, since prior to the pandemic, small businesses accounted for 60% of leisure and hospitality employment. Travel is an essential industry, and we must continue to communicate that growing travel leads to economic growth, benefits businesses, and fosters mutual understanding. Therefore, I, Burt Miller, Mayor of the City of Navasota, do hereby proclaim May 7th through 13th, 2023 as National Travel and Tourism Week in Navasota, and urge citizens of Navasota to join me in recognizing this critical role this industry plays in our city. We can do it in a minute. Let's do it in a minute.
I'm not gonna get my photo.
Get John back there, he's tall.
That's part of her duty there is to get pictures, so. You know, does everyone know Bobby? Bobby is our marketing communications director. And she's responsible for a lot of the things that have to do with that. Thank you, Bobby. Public Service Recognition Week. I'd like to invite any city staff that are in here.
All
with us
city
tonight.
staff that's here.
All city staff, Mr. Weeks says, so everybody. And then anyone else in the room
Mike,
that,
you get to come up here too.
anyone else that, that serves, and I'm, council too, we're all volunteers.
Come on up.
Anyone that volunteers on a board or commission or and serves the community in any way. So, pretty much everybody.
How's that? What are you doing?
We'll get lined up.
Go for your picture. Good call.
Connie, you serve on boards?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's like
all right,
Bobby.
all right.
Bobby's.
Okay. Whereas service to others is a hallmark of the American character and central to how we meet our challenges. Americans are served every day by public servants at the federal, state, county, and city levels who supply continuity to our democratic society. Public employees and community volunteers serve in areas such as health, education, public safety, the arts, the environment, finance, public infrastructure, community planning, human rights, recreation, and more. The public employees of the City of Navasota are committed to exhibiting the highest standards of professional excellence, creativity, skill, and customer service. And the dedicated volunteers who serve on Navasota's commissions and boards inform and advise policymakers and are integral to the advancement of the quality of life that we enjoy here. The efficiency of government relies on public employees and volunteers who provide services in the quality and quantity required and expected by the public. Whereas the City of Navasota recognizes the generous contributions of time and talent by public employees and community volunteers and the importance of the services they render. Now therefore, I, Burt Miller, the Mayor of the City of Navasota, do hereby proclaim the week of May 7th through 13th, 2023, as Public Service Recognition Week, and encourage all residents of Navasota to join with me in celebrating the employees and volunteers of the City of Navasota.
Jennifer.
No, I gotta make sure we're good back here, you know?
We can stand up. You wanna do that? Yeah. Let's do that. Hey, we'll stand up, right?
Hey, you gotta stand up. On your tiptoes. I'll just stand up right here. How about that?
That's right.
Get Jennifer.
Mayor and Council, also during Public Service Recognition Week, each day will be doing a posting of and celebrating a specific department. And then on Friday, we'll be honoring our employees with a breakfast here in council chambers around 7 a.m. So send an invite out to y'all. So we'll have that at 7 a.m. on May 12th that morning.
We will not be there. All right. Any reports from council on boards and commissions?
Planning and zoning met last Thursday. Item 5 and item 6 on our agenda will be covered. Has to do with some more property at Pecan Lakes, going from agriculture open to Pecan Lakes Estate 3 PUD, as well as Dove Crossing, little section there that they're going to be having. I was going to have to say I was impressed with the citizen participation at the meetings. We had 15, 20 maybe different citizens that came, had about 5 or 6 got up and spoke. So it's neat to see our citizens getting a little bit more involved and wanting to know what the process is. So it was good.
All right. And those both PUDs were approved by P&Z.
Yes, they were approved, and we're going to be,
We're just going to ratify it tonight.
it's up for our approval.
Okay. Coming up, Lend Me a Tenor is kicking off Friday at the
Friday,
Minnesota Theater
yes.
Alliance. So be sure and get your tickets for that. That will, I'm sure, be filling up really fast. And Saturday at 10 a.m., we'll have the ribbon cutting at the new dog park at August Horst. And we have early voting, I believe, started today.
Started today.
So early voting runs through May 2nd, and it's Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 at the Navasota Center. And then Election Day, of course, is May 6th, and that's a Saturday, and I believe the polls are 7A to 7P, right?
Correct.
Okay. And then coming up a little bit down the road, May 13th is our annual Kid Fish out at Patu Pond. And I think we're already getting all the little fishies to put them in the pond, and so I believe there's Navasota Noon Lines, Navasota Kiwanis Club, and there's a few others that are sponsoring, or helping sponsor that. And so bring out the kiddos for that. It's a free event.
Mayor, I got a couple items.
Yeah, sure, yes, sir.
Grimes County National Day of Prayer
Yes.
is May 4th at the VFW from 6 to 7 p.m. That was a great event last year. So I've sent an invite out to y'all as well as our executive staff for that.
And that's the public's invited to that
The
as
public's
well.
invited to that. It's a prayer vigil where they pray for county, city, state, federal, schools,
Police.
police,
all the
fire.
bases.
They cover everything. So it's a really big
Military.
event. Military, correct. Also on May 12th. TML's Region 14 is having their spring meeting here in town at PA Smith. So that's a great way to, the region, we're about as high north as the region gets. And so it's a great opportunity for the Houston region to hear and see what's happening here in Navasota. So that's a great event.
And Ms. Peterson serves as
Ms. Peterson serves as the
president.
vice president, and so that'll be great. And also, I am happy to report that tonight, this evening, Mudcats are hopefully swimming at the pool today, and so glad to have the pool open and able to get that going. So hopefully, I'll be able to get something out Friday to tell you how it went this week. So I've had little snags here and there, but hopefully they were able to get in the water and do some practicing now.
They gonna have any meets here?
So
this
I don't
year?
know when the meet is, but correct, I think the first 2 meets are out of town, and then it's around the middle of the season when they come here. But practice is up and going as of today.
Very good. Item 5 is we'll hold a public hearing for the purpose of receiving public comment and testimony regarding recommendation by the Planning and Zoning Commission to adopt on the first reading ordinance 1018-23, a zoning change application submitted by JCLB Investments LLC for property located in the Dove Crossing subdivision to change the zoning from Article 5 R1A High Density Single Dwelling Unit 7,000 foot square lot residential district to Dove Crossing PUD Planned Unit Development for the development of a 5.04 acre single dwelling unit subdivision, followed by discussion and possible action to consider adopting on first reading ordinance 1018-23, a zoning change application request to change zoning from Article 5 R-1A High Density Single Dwelling Unit 7,000 square foot lot residential district to Dove Crossing PUD Planned Unit Development for the development of a 5.04 acre single dwelling unit subdivision. Yes, I said all that twice. The property affected is legally described as Dove Crossing, Block 7, Lot 3, acres 5.04, located in Navasota, Grimes County, Texas.
And the time is?
And the time is 6:30.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, can you repeat that one more time? Just so-
No.
Mayor, Council, Lupe Gonzalo, Development Services Director. I just want to briefly summarize this application. As Councilman Holt stated earlier, the Planning and Zoning Commission did meet to consider this zoning change request. The property is in Dove Crossing. It's a 5 acre lot. It's the developer JCLB Investments. They are here tonight. We have JC Wall and Leah Burton to represent this request. In summary, the request is requesting to change the zoning from R1A single family 7,000 square foot lot to a Dove Crossing PUD, and they're requesting 5,000 square foot lot. I did receive a communication from the developer this morning. They were finally in the interim of the planning and zoning meeting, and tonight they actually received their survey finally from the surveying company they're utilizing. Originally, they did request for 50-foot wide lots. However, now that they have that survey in hand, it was determined that the property is not actually 250 foot wide at that northern portion. And so in order to properly fit 5 lots on each side of White Wing, they would have to reduce the lots, a foot or so each. And so with that, they are requesting to make a minor amendment to the PUD standards. So that would be in the ordinance, in the building, in the lot dimensions. And so instead of 50-foot minimum, just for precaution, have a buffer of at least 45-foot minimum. This was done similar in the Dove Court and Dove Landing. They set that minimum floor just to make sure that they had enough room in case any other easements or unforeseen things come about. So as you all know, the plan unit development, this is the zoning piece. And so if this is approved, then we'll get into the details of the preliminary plat and construction drawings. And that'll be the next step of this process. And that'll be considered by planning and zoning. And again, as I mentioned, Mr. Wall and Ms. Burton are here if y'all have any questions.
Just to make sure that I understand, you're saying that the dimension has changed since it went to planning and zoning.
Correct, yes.
And can the change, Luke, can we take on the change after it's been approved a certain way by planning and zoning?
You do have the ability to amend the ordinance. Yes, sir.
But how many folks got up and spoke on that particular item during planning and zoning?
For the Dove Crossing, I think we had 2 or 3 people. Their biggest concern was just drainage. There's a history of flooding issues in Dove Crossing because of that drainage watershed there. So their biggest concern was just, hey, whenever this is looked at on the engineering side, take a close look at drainage and where water's flowing. And that's why they specifically are designing this to really have as much least of an impact on that flood zone as possible. So that's why they're only proposing to extend White Wing to add those 10 lots and then another 5 along Dove Crossing Lane. So even though this matches the PUD standards of the Dove Landing and Dove Court projects, this is really a lot less dense than those other 2.
And it allows for the floodway without any development.
Correct. Yes, sir.
So no one was concerned about the size of the lots?
That didn't come up. I was here. That didn't come up. Anyone wish to, this is a open hearing, so anyone that wish to speak to this item, the developers, y'all are welcome to. Okay. Can you come to the podium, please? And just state your name and address. Okay.
My name is Carmen Pettit. I'm at 116 Dove Court.
Okay.
What I've been concerned about is the traffic. I feed the ducks every day at Patout Pond. The traffic is, they're speeding so fast through there. They're going over 70 miles an hour. I've called the city to see if I could get some speed bumps put through there, because the ducks go across into the field, and I call them, and they come running out to be fed. And I've, followed people home. I said, you almost hit one of the ducks. I stand out in the road to try to slow people down. So with this more homes coming in, the traffic's going to get worse. So we need either police officers patrolling regularly, especially leaving in the morning for work, coming home. But it's terrible. I'm spending about $3,500 a year feeding the ducks, and I'd like to keep them. So I need some help. Okay?
Anyone else wish to speak to this item? Okay. All right. We'll close the hearing at 6:37. Go to item number 6, which is public hearing for the
You got to,
Action on that.
do the action on the ordinance.
Oh, it's on the same item?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Missed that.
I just told him that it's
Okay.
confusing. Sorry.
I apologize.
Change is hard.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Should have warned me.
Sorry.
There you go, right there.
All right, we, again, based on Planning and Zoning Commission's recommendation of the first reading of ordinance 1018-23 regarding the zone change application submitted by JCLB Investments LLC for the property located at Dove Crossing subdivision. Request to change zoning from Article 5R-1A, high-density single-dwelling unit, 7,000 square foot lot residential district to Dove Crossing PUD, planned unit development for the development of 5.04 acre single-dwelling unit subdivision. Property affected is legally described as Dove Crossing, Block 7, Lot 3, acres 5.04, located in Navasota, Grimes County, Texas. And if that motion is made, there would have to be an amendment to that afterwards for the correction that Lupe brought up.
Yes, sir.
So I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the first reading of ordinance number 1018-23, including the amendment that was proposed by Mr.
Oh, including, we could do it that way?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Holt, second by Mr. Gessner to approve first reading of ordinance 1018-23 with the amendment of the lot size. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, item carries. Now, item 6. Public hearing for the purpose of receiving public comment and testimony regarding a recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission to adopt on first reading ordinance 1019-23, zoning change application submitted by James C. and Dorothy Hassel for the property located along County Road 424, Navasota, Grimes County, Texas. Zoning change application request to change the zoning from ag open space to district to public to Pecan Lakes Estates Phase 3 PUD, amending the boundaries of the PUD for the development of a 1.310 acre single unit subdivision. The property affected is legally described as A0062 J Whitesides, Track 14-3, Track 19-3, followed by a discussion and possible action to consider adopting on the first reading ordinance 1019-23, zoning application request to change the zoning from ag open to ag open space district to Pecan Lakes Estates Phase 3 PUD, amending the boundaries of the PUD for the development of 1.310 acre single dwelling unit subdivision. Property affected is legally described as A0062 J Whitesides, Track 14-3, Track 19-3.
In the time.
And the hearing opens at 6:40.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, so similar item as before. However, this is, the difference between this and the previous item is the previous item was creating a new PUD, and this is amending the boundaries of an already existing PUD. So again, on April 13th, Planning and Zoning held a public hearing, and they did vote in favor of recommending approval of the proposed change. This is at the end of Putter Place Court, and it also fronts County Road 424. We did have a number of residents come out and speak that night. The biggest concerns was just really looking at lot density, the ultimate and final design and finish of the homes, as well as traffic and property values, depending on the lot sizes and the home sizes as well. And so again, this is changing the recently annexed 1.3 acres into Pecan Lakes Phase 3 PUD, where the minimum lot size is 5,000 square feet. It was noted, the cul-de-sac that fronts this area, it has lots that are way beyond that. There's some that are close to 8,000 square feet. But again, when the Phase 3 PUD was established, it incorporated the 3 cul-de-sacs near this property, as well as all of the grid down below. So that's why that's there as a minimum, not as a requirement. As far as lot size, it's just as small as you can go is 5,000. And so I'm sure there's residents here that would like to speak on this item as well.
Okay.
Good evening, City Council. Yes, I live on, my name is Matthew Price. I live on 7906 Putter Place Court, which is on the actual cul-de-sac. Some of my concerns was mentioned by Lupe, but also the fact that the original design, while we may have been told by the builder, ultimately the developer developed a cul-de-sac, which is the basis that we purchased our home in that neighborhood, or even Navasota. I live in Bryan, but my wife teaches in Navasota. I travel a lot for work, so I'm not home a lot. So my wife, who is 100% the MVP of us two, because she's at home with our 2, 5, and 8-year-old. So the importance of living in that cul-de-sac and the safety that surrounded, as opposed, which again was developed by the developer, as opposed to the extensions of, I believe it's Birdie Court and Eagle View, which are dead-end roads. I wouldn't have purchased a home on that for that intent. We have a very small backyard. Again, we knew that buying it, but with the intent that we lived on a cul-de-sac with no through traffic. We know every one of our neighbors. They know our kids. The safety that goes into that. Again, I know this isn't the plat meeting and stuff, but the design of a double cul-de-sac, essentially, I feel like we got duped on our yardage and our house. If the plan is to then put a through street into the cul-de-sac, and I think it's been mentioned like an eyeglass, but ultimately for me, it's the safety of my family. It's the reason I chose to build that house on that lot, select that. I 100% wouldn't have purchased a home over there if the design wasn't the design that it was, or there was mention of putting a through street. I think there's a control box of some sort at the end of the cul-de-sac, so nothing pointed to a street coming through. If there's houses put at the end, I think, not to bring prayer and politics into place, we talked about in the prayer to open this about the compassion towards your residents. I don't think there's any compassion towards your residents if you're just trying to throw in shotgun lots that are more likely the design of a trailer house as opposed to I think the minimum lot size of the houses on there are 67 right now. And that, again, that's not the minimum for the neighborhood, but that's the smallest lot size, to my knowledge, on our street right now. So thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Loopy, so this is the same location that we had an issue when he was talking about the eyeglass or the whatever it was, the double cul-de-sac. So,
Yes, sir.
didn't Mr. Hassel say he was going to address that? I know that we're not there right now at the planning phase for that, but wasn't he going to address those concerns?
Yes, sir. So early on, we did receive that early rendition of that plat, and it did show a double cul-de-sac. That is something that definitely we're going to bring up as a review comment when that gets submitted for review alongside the construction drawings. Matter of fact, we received the latest and greatest, probably maybe, I think it was late last week. So just in preparation, if this zoning is approved, we're definitely going to look at that. And if the cul-de-sac ultimately is approved, there's definitely going to have to be a lot of corrections addressed before we get to that point. And so.
There will be 6 lots added to this subdivision, what it is. And this is the only direction that I could come in to do this property and where it can drain properly. It's the only direction.
This is also the lot, if I remember right, that you said, or that there was concern about the multi-family housing. Was that all part of that same agenda item whenever I don't remember when that was, but I feel like this was.
Well, I had originally commitment for putting apartments there, and I canceled that, and then I went with this because I thought that would be bad for the subdivision over there to have apartments.
And you live in this neighborhood
Yes,
where potentially people are going to be upset, but your thinking is this is the best way to go.
yes.
Anyone else wish to speak to this item? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So there's people that are going to come speak.
My name's Michael Medeiros. My wife and I live at 7903 Putter Place Court in the beautiful city of Navasota. And again, we want to thank all you folks that represent the city and taking care of our business for your hard work and commitment to this. Again, this is about the zoning change. And I want to understand real quickly, if you could, where it's referencing now to changing the zoning open agricultural space to Pecan Lakes Phase 3 PUD. Does that mean that this development now should mirror the existing development right there on those 3 cul-de-sacs, which are, in general, our lot 7,800 square feet. The folks that live straight across the street, it's an 8,000 square foot lot. So I don't know where 6 homes is going to represent our part of the community and the value of those homes in our lots. So that's a major concern. The other one, and fourth, is the fact that they want to open up the end of our cul-de-sac. We don't want that at all, period. That just is insane. This property is listed as being off of CR 424. So for us, any development that would come about, one should have a street and some access off of that county road, which is going to be finished, from what I understand in past meetings, is going to be concreted and made very nice and beautiful also. Again, we believe 6 homes is just ridiculous to try and jam on that property. It doesn't represent this Phase 3 PUD in value. I don't see how that's going to mirror our value of our homes. That's our major concern, aside from not wanting this cul-de-sac opened up, because that's just going to make more traffic coming down this little street, which is why we bought on a cul-de-sac, because of the safety for young families and old folks that might be out walking around and stuff like that. That's a major concern. It's not just our streets, it's got young families. To the other 2 cul-de-sacs, there's 2 or 3 families over there that got young kids that play at the end of these cul-de-sacs. And I can almost assure you that those families bought on a cul-de-sac for that purpose. There's no traffic running up and down this road. Again, I just want to understand what this PUD 3, it's changed. If it went from whatever, originally this was commercial property. So we want to understand how the heck this happens. We got blindsided by this. You know, they came down and saw cut the end of our road and our street, the curbing and stuff, and a bunch of construction started taking place, laying trenching and stuff for the utilities and stuff like that, and nothing had been approved by anybody, be it county or city. So we want to understand, as citizens of this, we believe, a very great community, how this happens. How everybody can get blindsided, including the folks in the city and code enforcement and other aspects. So we just see a lot of negative stuff from this. We don't see any benefit. It's a last minute deal that was kind of is wanting to be jammed down our throats. Mr. Hassel has 520 homes that he's developing lots for in that part of the community, plus the 140 that's going to be between us and Highway 105. Don't understand why these 6 houses is some kind of an issue, or should be even, again, tempted to be jammed down our throats. That's all I have to say.
Identify myself again.
Yes, sir, please, if you don't mind.
Hi, Max Hill, 8030 Front 9 Lane, Navasota, Texas. I'm in the subdivision that Mr. Hassel is adding on to, or wants to add on to. I think it's an excellent idea. There's a lot of new couples and a lot of people moving into that area because of the new development. And I think it's a real good idea that you gentlemen should support Mr. Hassel and pass it for him, if you would, please. But it's an excellent idea. It's bringing more people into our community. I moved up here from Houston. There's several, I've counted 20 people in there that have moved from Houston to here. So, you know, you're opening up homes and you're bringing people into the community. It's going to cost jobs. It's going to cause more jobs and stuff, and more money and income for you and everything. So, gentlemen, please pass it.
Thank you. Lippe, can you address the concern that citizen, the first one with the hat, I can't remember your name, I'm sorry.
Michael.
Yeah, that he's asking about the size difference in potentially the PUD that's already approved?
Yes, sir, absolutely. So Pecan Lakes Phase 3 PUD, the zoning, that was done obviously in the 3rd phase of Pecan Lakes. Phase 1 and Phase 2 had a little bit larger lots. They were pretty much all over 7,000 square foot in Phase 1 and Phase 2. Phase 3 was the same, at least on that top portion of the cul-de-sacs. The PUD document that regulates that entire Phase 3 is a blanket PUD standard, right, that says these are the minimum requirements for this phase, which was Phase 3, and in there was a minimum of 5,000. I think just because of the proximity of Phase 1 and Phase 2, it was designed in such a way that those homes closer to Phase 1 and 2 were the same size as those, and then when you go around the bend to the majority of the homes in Phase 3, those were pretty much all in the at least 5,000 square foot mark. or 6,000, I'm sorry. And so that was the base floor minimum. And there's a mixture. I mean, there's some lots even down at the bottom portion of Phase 3 that are close to 10,000 because they're kind of corner lots on cul-de-sacs. So that is just a minimum floor requirement. But of course, as a developer, he could do it higher than what's required, but definitely not lower than that 6,000 mark. So again, that Phase 3 PUD standards applied blanket to all the land in Phase 3, not just the bottom portion or the top portion. It was the entire thing. Hopefully that answers your question.
Lupe, I got a question. So you've looked at the drawings and everything, and based on Mr. Hassel's assumption that you can get 6 lots, can you get 6 lots in there that are 6,000 square feet at the minimum?
From that preliminary plat we received and the most recent one we received, no, they're not going to meet the 6,000 base minimum.
The end ones possibly could because
Right.
of the cul-de-sac, but the first 2 would not because they're bowing out.
Right.
Because of the cul-de-sac. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Would they meet the minimum of the 50-foot wide width?
No, so there's a number of requirements there that are going to have to be addressed when we review that plat officially, if the zoning is designated. Obviously, right now, the zoning is ag open, because that is the automatic zone that gets attached to a property when it's annexed. And so if this PUD zoning standards are approved, then we're going to review that plat based on the PUD standards. And like Mr. Weeks says, yeah, there's a number of issues that come up when looking at the plat compared to what's being asked for tonight. So lot size, lot widths, and then obviously the design of the cul-de-sac is a topic too. So.
And also, I think in some of the meetings prior, when we had P&Z meetings, when we had discussions about the annexation, residents had issues with the facade, and within Exhibit C of the ordinance for the Phase 3, it talks about front and side exterior facades on the units shall be constructed of 100% brick or stone masonry. So that would be correct for these up to whatever the development's going to be of this portion.
Correct. Yeah. If he can only fit 2 or 3 or 4 or 6, those homes will have to be 3% masonry, 3 sides masonry. That's what's in the PUD standards originally for Phase 3. There's some homes, and I think most of the homes in that cul-de-sac have brick on all 4 sides, but the PUD standards are written in such a way that 3 sides needed to have masonry. So that'll have to be conformed to on no matter the lot size.
So just a further note, this hearing is only to change the zoning from the ag open to what he has already described and already is doing as far as PUD 3.
Correct. Yes, sir.
And as you're proposing it right now, I hear you both. I hear that you're saying that that his lots are going to be under the 6,000 and that he can't go under 6,000. So I'm still, I don't know why, I'm still confused a hair about, can the lot sizes the lot sizes will be the same as they were in the PUD 3?
Yes. So the minimum requirement for Phase 3 PUD is, let me pull up the ordinance. Yeah, 6,000 square feet, right? So the proposed PUD is a minimum of 6,000 square feet. If this zoning is approved, we're then going to review that plat, and one of the first comments will be, your lot is not meeting that 6,000 square foot minimum.
It will meet it. I mean, this was just a preliminary that I had him do, but it will meet the 50-foot, the 6,000 square foot, that's 120 foot deep, about 50 foot wide, and it will meet it.
And then you'll submit that through another process, which comes back and gets approved by planning and zoning.
So preliminary plat and engineered construction drawings are submitted, and that's reviewed by staff first, and then it gets presented to planning and zoning for consideration. And if there's any code deficiencies, and those will be noted in the staff report to planning and zoning, so they could either, I'm assuming if it doesn't meet the requirements, they could deny or, I mean, that's really the
Or
only thing.
even if it
approving or
doesn't,
not.
they didn't want to approve it, they could do that.
I mean, I
I
think
mean,
the recommendation
within
would be if
reason.
it doesn't meet the standards, it would be to deny, correct?
I'll just give you my word, it will meet the standard.
And this land has been owned by you the entire time, right? So you didn't, or is this, what I'm thinking is, when residents may have bought that land, this piece of property was there, was wide open,
Yes.
and it was a lot. I mean, in my old neighborhood, I was not really excited when something wanted to go in there that I wasn't necessarily excited about, but I could have bought the property and done with it what I wanted to if that was the case, you know, if I wasn't concerned about what would go in there. So this property's been yours, you didn't just recently purchase it?
Wasn't newly acquired, it was,
Yes.
you already had it.
One other thing I'd like to make a remark about. They're complaining about extending that and getting 6 new lots in there. But that road I put out to 105 was for section 4. But all these people are using that road. I could have took it down to the end of the county, to that county road, to hit 105 down there and done a lot less work than I've been doing the way I'm doing it now. By putting that county road, I'm gonna concrete it up to where the road goes out to 105, which I've already put in. And everybody loves that road. And I'm asking now, they're using that road. It wasn't there when they bought their house. Had no plans for that road. But they're using it. So,
I think the biggest concern is that we're hearing is that it's connected to the cul-de-sac. Is that, you know, if there's a different way to not connect it to the cul-de-sac, I think that would.
I've studied coming off the county road, I can't do it. So it's either this or, you know, let the zoning commercial and then we'll build apartments or something and however y'all wanna do it.
Hey, Lupe, is that pit parcel available to be rezoned commercial? Now that it's been annexed in?
So the current zoning designation is ag open space. As the property owner, he could petition any zoning district, but ultimately, obviously, that'll have to come through planning and zoning and city council. Yes, sir.
Sir, did you want to?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can come forward. You state your name and address, it'll be fine. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Bert Bearden. I live at 7904 Putter Place Court, and I want to thank you for allowing us to speak to you tonight. I'm pretty concerned with what I'm hearing and what this proposal looks like, and I understand that this is for the PUD, but I had a chance to speak here a while back, and I would like to renew my concerns. When I purchased my home on Putter Place Court, I was presented with what I thought was a finished product. In fact, if you looked on both Stockcraft and D.R. Horton's websites, they showed the cul-de-sacs as finished. If you drove through any of those 3 cul-de-sacs, they appeared finished. The idea that we would come up with these tiny little lots with this weird-looking cul-de-sac added onto our street would have never occurred to me. It would have definitely influenced my decision to purchase my home. I would not have purchased my home there. And yet, Mr. Hassel and the builders, they took our money. They were happy to present us with what appeared to be a finished product. And now we're getting told this really odd thing where we're going to have these tiny lots with a weird-looking cul-de-sac added on. I mean, I appreciate the road, but when I moved into my house, there was already concrete with a street sign that said Pecan Lakes Drive there. The intent to build that road was there before I moved in my home. I probably have pictures of it that I could look. Yes, sir. I see you shaking your head no. But that cutout for the street was there. And, you know, it was clear from the time I moved in that there was an intent to build a road there. So it's a nice road. I appreciate it. I enjoy using it. But the infrastructure to build that existed at the time that I bought my home. What didn't exist was the plans to do now what we're talking about. And so, you know, I respectfully ask that the city council require Mr. Hassel to stick with at least the integrity of the street, the width lot, you know, the correct width of our lots, and to protect the investment that we've made. You know, these are homes. We live there. We're not over on the golf course on triple wide lots. We're in the subdivision. And when you make them even smaller, you're going to increase traffic, you're going to hurt the value of our homes, and it's just not what should happen there. And so again, I respectfully request that you as our council strongly represent us and make sure that our investments in the city of Navasota are respected and protected. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And Lupe, just to reiterate what I'm hearing, the lot sizes aren't going to be considered smaller necessarily. He's saying, Mr. Hassel's saying that the lot sizes will be the same as the others in the PUD 3.
Right, the PUD outlines a minimum of 6,000 square feet. That's the rule. However, the residents, they're true in their statement that their lots are a lot larger than 6,000. And that's because the PUD standard sets the minimum, not the maximum.
Just the minimum.
Yes, sir.
And just, I guess just for historic purpose, just why, I'm wondering, I'm just curious why this was not known a long time ago that this was gonna possibly happen. Was it just was that area not ever intended to be developed, or is there any,
No, when Phase 3 was developed, there was no communication that.
It would seem to me if you had the property, you would go ahead and put the cul-de-sac at the end, all the way to the other side of that piece of property, so I'm just kind of.
As I said earlier,
Okay,
I had a contract on it.
okay.
And I would not sell it to them because I didn't want the partners to be there at the end of the street.
Okay.
That's why it was not done the way you're saying. Otherwise, it should have been done that way. But at that time, it's a lot more money commercially you could rent business. And so that was what it was going to be, commercial. And also, he's speaking about that Pecan Lakes Drive. At that time, I owned that, being part of owned that property, that where Pecan Lakes Drive goes out to Mall.
Well, again, let me back up. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Allison Chapman, I forgot my address. I live on Eagle View. But I know people who live on Petter Place. I'm dear friends with some of them. I understand that as residents of Pecan Lakes, that we invested $250,000 plus into our homes. A lifetime investment, a 30-year investment, and that we all care about where we live. I'm not a planner, I'm not an engineer, I don't know anything about building houses or anything else like that. But this is a cul-de-sac, and when you drive into cul-de-sacs, you typically see at the end of the cul-de-sac more houses. So I understand that there's property there that can be developed, but I don't understand why 3 houses can't be built in that end of that cul-de-sac and finish out just what's already there for the aesthetics of it, for the people that live there, instead of trying to build more homes. I don't know, and I don't know if that's even possible, but I've just wondered why that has never been brought up. Like, why not just add 2 to 3 houses at the end, rather large lots possibly?
Basically move the cul-de-sac.
But no, not move the cul-de-sac, not do anything to the street, nothing, where nothing in the street happens other than just building homes that extend out the end of the cul-de-sac.
Have the double cul-de-sac, right? Is that-
Not a
It's
double
where-
cul-de-sac.
It's it's where you have one house at the very end of the cul-de-sac and then two on the side, so that,
Build a house.
so it completes the cul-de-sac.
Like that versus
Yeah, so we finish out the cul-de-sac versus adding an extra cul-de-sac onto it.
bigger.
Does that make sense? Because that would be aesthetically pleasing, I think, to the I don't know, I don't live on Putter Place. But I would assume if I was a neighbor, or if I lived on Putter Place, I wouldn't mind more houses being built to finish out the cul-de-sac versus an extension of my street, which I understand, because they've invested their life into that.
Well, I think it's obvious that it should be at least considered.
Yeah.
Or at least looked at by an engineer maybe or something.
Yeah, just a thought and idea, so thank you.
That won't work.
Okay.
The only thing you gotta get that cul-de-sac is the width of the street, which is 60 foot wide. And it's extended past the, street, extends past that cul-de-sac, I think around 10 feet. But you only got 60 foot wide there, so you couldn't get at an angle and come into it.
Sorry, I wanted to speak again real fast.
Okay.
The reference of the street coming in, and being a benefit is a great street. If anybody was gonna speak against it, it'd be me, because the lights come in my back window. But I understand the benefit to the neighborhood. It was needed. Definitely a benefit. It's created a lot less traffic in other areas, that were needed, but the design of the road, again, there was already a blocked off concrete, as mentioned, and a street sign that was a four-way, not a two-way. And then, I think it was referenced about buying the property. I put my life into our house. I don't, if they're selling 6 lots at $20,000 a piece, I don't have the, 20, 60, 80, 160,000 laying around to also invest into that. So it's, like I think it was referenced, my life went into, and my wife's life and my kid's life went into this $250,000 home. I don't have the money to go out and throw it at something else to try to save what I already invested in, because something wasn't planned correctly. If the developer owned that property at the end, it sounds like bad development, not extending it. So, thank you.
Lupe, on how much trouble is it to change a site plan that's been approved? Can the developer just go in and have a street that is ended and just open it up without going through some other processes?
Yeah, so that would be part of the plating process. Planning and zoning has a lot of discretion on the preliminary plat itself. There's obviously the hardline rules that say, city road width standards, lot standards that are referenced in the PUD, but they look at it holistically. Quality of life. There's a number of things that planning and zoning will consider when presented the plat. So there is a standard for it. There's nothing in our ordinance that says that a road cannot be extended if it's already there. So it's just on a case-by-case basis.
But we approved the site plan for the Putter Place, essentially, right?
Yes, yeah. So planning and zoning approved that final plat for Putter Place Court as a cul-de-sac as is now. And if somebody wanted to replat the property, they would go through a very similar process, present a plat to P&Z, it would be reviewed, and then, if it meets the codes and planning and zoning is happy with it, then they'll approve it. If it doesn't, then they'll deny it. But it's the same.
So they would not only have to approve the site plan for this new area, but they would have to approve the revised site plan for Putter Place.
Yes, so that small sliver of property that's at the end of the cul-de-sac, that would have to be replatted into the new plat. Because right now there is a piece of property at the very end of the cul-de-sac. And so in them submitting that plat, that's one of the things that staff is going to look at is how does it affect the property lines on the plat next door, which would be those two homes and then that small sliver at the end of the cul-de-sac. So that would have to essentially be replatted into the property that's being considered tonight. So that would essentially extend that right-of-way of Petter Place Court through the end of the cul-de-sac. So it's a preliminary plat, but it's also a replat as well, because it'll have to change what that strip of property is.
Okay. And what we're doing now has nothing to do with either plat.
No, sir, yeah. Today is just considering the overarching rules that'll cover the property.
Yes, ma'am.
Deborah Richardson, 1202 Lane Street, and he may have just answered my question. I think, aren't we getting a little ahead of ourselves? I'm not real sure. I thought this was just to change the zoning,
That's correct.
That's it, period. And if you do that, it has nothing to do with how many lots you're gonna have later, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so a lot of this argument, I understand their point of view, but it has nothing to do with this particular thing. Okay.
That's correct. We're just allowing discussion, just.
Right. I was just kind of getting confused on where the cutoff line was. We're just saying, okay, it's now residential. Okay.
Correct.
Thank you.
Mayor, but part of the ordinance that you will be approving or considering, it has Exhibit C in here, and Exhibit C, it talks about development standards, and everything we've been talking about is development standards. Talks about lot dimensions. We haven't talked about anything about setbacks, but it does talk about facades and some of those things that the people that have been speaking about are concerned about.
Right.
So even though it doesn't exactly talk about what's out there now, that's putting the cart before the horse is what you're saying, it really does consider about the PUD requirements of the
It brings it
development
within the PUD where it's not right now.
So that is what the residents are trying to bring to your attention, I think is what I'm hearing. Just want you to be cognizant of what's out there.
So our possible approval of this change of zoning has nothing to do with the eventual site plans or closing of the street.
Correct. It's basically giving him direction of what to bring back for the site plan, what it needs to look like, the instructions, how to bring it back.
And the site plan goes to planning and zoning after it goes through staff.
Yes, the preliminary plat is through planning and zoning. Yes, sir.
Anyone else speak to this item? We'll close the hearing at 7:18.
Mayor, this is similar to the other one you'll.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Which I've actually already read.
Okay.
So, I can just be available to accept a motion at this time.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the first reading of ordinance number 1019-23.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Holt, second by Mr. Fultz to approve the zoning change application, ordinance 1019-23. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, item passes.
I think a lot of work has to be done on that one before he comes back. We'd like a win-win for everyone.
Item 7, we shall hold a public hearing for the purpose of receiving public comment and testimony regarding a sign variance application submitted by Joe's Italian Restaurant and Pizza for the property located at 1010 South LaSalle, Navasota, Grimes County, Texas, for the installation of a freestanding 10-foot sign in height, 4 feet taller than permitted, with the clearance from the ground to the bottom of the sign 6 feet in height, 5 feet or more, 5 more feet than permitted. Followed by discussion and possible action to consider a sign variance application submitted by Joe's Italian Restaurant and Pizza for the property located at 1010 South LaSalle, Navasota, Grimes County, for the installation of a freestanding sign 10 feet in height. Now we'll open this hearing at 7:20.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, so just to summarize, so this item was actually considered previously at the February 27th meeting. However, I did omit some public hearing language on the item, and so thankfully Carrie caught it and realized that that was not per our code, and so we had to bring this item back. I do want to thank both property owners for being here tonight to be present for this item, and so as you already read, this proposed variance was approved at the February 27th meeting. Just needed to bring it back to make sure we're following the procedures.
Anyone wish to speak to this item? Okay.
Open the meeting. Open the public meeting.
Yeah.
Actually, now we'll close it. What, a minute later? 2 minutes later.
Probably the fastest public hearing.
Okay. And I will entertain a motion. The same item. Which is weird.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the sign variance request for 1010 South LaSalle.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Fultz, second by Mr. Gessner to approve the, bless you, to approve the item. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, item carries. Item 8, public hearing for the purpose of receiving public comment and testimony regarding a sign variance application submitted by Navasota Welding Supply for the property located at 1002 Spur 515, Navasota, Grimes County, Texas, for the installation of a pylon sign 18 feet 2 inches in height, 10 feet 2 inches taller than permitted, in the sign area of 80 square feet, 16 square feet larger than area permitted, followed by discussion and possible action to consider a sign variance application submitted by Navasota Welding Supply for that property located at 1002 Spur 515, Navasota, Grimes County, Texas, for the installation of a pylon sign 18 feet 2 inches in height. Open the hearing at 7:23.
Mayor, City Council, similar situation. This item was also approved on the February 27th meeting.
I'll I will ask anyone who'd like to speak to this item. Seeing none, close the hearing, 7:23.
That was the fastest public hearing. Lupe.
You could put it in your record books that you, the quickest hearing ever.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the sign variance request submitted by Navasota Welding Supply.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Fultz, second by Mr. Gessner to approve the permit for the pylon sign for Navasota Welding Supply. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, item carries. Item 9, public hearing for the purpose of receiving public comment and testimony regarding a sign variance application submitted by KHR Properties LLC, Jack in the Box, for the property located at 2010 State Highway 105 East, Navasota, Grimes County, Texas, for the installation of a freeway pole 60 feet in height, 17 feet 5 inches taller than permitted, followed by discussion and possible action to consider a sign variance application submitted by KHR Properties LLC, Jack in the Box, for the property located at 2010 State Highway 105 East, Navasota, Grimes County, Texas, for the installation of a freeway pole 60 feet in height. Open the hearing at 7:24.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, so this item was at a previous City Council meeting on April 10th. However, there was no discussion or action. That's where we realized that the wording was omitted. And so, just to summarize, the proposed freeway pole sign is 60 feet in height. The maximum allowed height for this area is 42.5 feet. That is the only provisions that are requiring of a variance. In your staff report, you see a really good depiction and drawing of the sign, as well as the sign company's variance request letter. Here present tonight, we have Teresa Lindsay with Sign Remedy and Jason Fisher representing Jack in the Box. So if y'all have any questions for myself or them present, we can try our best to answer.
Just as a help to help me see what is 60 feet, what's the size of the McDonald's sign, the height?
That is a good question. That probably is, actually that sign is probably closer to 60 feet than 42.5 feet. That sign has been there for a very long time, and so that's a good gauge as to how taller it needs to go.
How tall is the Chicken Express?
42.5 feet.
That's on the map.
The 20 feet taller than that is what you're looking at.
Correct. Yes, sir.
I'd like to, if someone from representing the sign or either one could come up and just maybe give us an idea of why you'd like to see it that high.
Mr. Mayor, Council, thank you for your time. Jason Fisher, Project Manager for KHR. Reasoning for the height of the sign is, as you may know, in previous council meetings, we've discussed about there's a lot in behind the Jack in the Box that we also own, and we intend on developing that in the near future. So with that being said, we want to be able to put a multi-tenant sign that is depicted on that picture as well. So we looked at possible designs of having our regular Jack in the Box signs with a monument down on the ground, but once we kind of seen how the lot played out, we were noticing that the monuments for the development behind would probably end up being an obstruction to traffic trying to get out of Durden Street onto 105. So we went back to the drawing board, and this is kind of where we came up with is to raise our cube up a little bit higher, put the multi-tenant sign, and then kind of free up the ground space, but also kind of eliminate having multiple pylon signs on the property that's kind of obstructing the skyline as well. So that's our thinking on that.
Just a question, so like, just another number, 50 foot, would that be that much difference in what the ultimate result is? It's just a question.
In the long scheme of things, probably not so much. We were trying to space it so that you're not, when you're trying to come up to the sign, you're not going to see like the Jack in the Box with the multi-tenant right on top of the Jack in the Box, and trying to space it so that you could actually read each signage appropriately.
Yeah, how high is the tenant side, top of it?
I believe it's around, do you know?
20 feet.
So it's 14, and then this is 3, so
that's
it's
3.
Probably around 50 or so. Or no, not 50, 35.
35 to 40, yeah.
So by having that height, we tend to separate the signs in the people's vision, rather than have them look like they're one on top of the other.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that signs are a great thing, and I'm sure that they're needed, and I know that they're needed. I don't know that they're needed this tall. It seems to me that that's gonna stand out like a sore thumb out there. And if we're trying to really watch how we allow that land to develop, and as part of the new Navasota, I'm not up for signs that are that tall necessarily. That looks like a really big separation between the top of the multi-tenant sign and the Jack in the Box box. And a lot of people are using apps on their phone. So if I'm looking for whatever, if I'm looking for a food, it pops up. Now, some people don't use those. But I don't know, I mean, I'm sure that a sign's gonna do, yeah, I'm sure that the sign, I don't know, it's nerve-wracking to me to think about how tall that's gonna be in an area that could potentially be developed and right across the street from an area that could be developed. As a kid, I grew up looking at the Exxon Mobil gas station sign, and I lived 6 blocks away, and that was like the big thing that I saw. Well, I think that we have come from that. I think we've moved past the really tall signs, and thus that's where our ordinance is. So, I don't know if it's a question as a statement.
Do y'all have a standard
We don't
on
have
state
that.
highways? Is there kind of a standard or no?
Typically, we try to go around, that's our 60 feet is our usual starting point. We do have signs that are up over 100 foot. But that's usually our starting point on a state highway.
I mean, I guess the airplanes could see it better. They could
That's
fly
right,
into
yeah,
the airport.
yeah.
I really appreciate that you have taken the time to think about how tall it should be and adding the additional signage for the other tenants. I think that's great, and that's what we're trying to encourage other businesses to do.
We're excited to be able to develop the back property, and that whole plat was designed with more development in mind. So we've been very conscious moving through that whole process of
Commercial development.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm thinking residential.
And
do you want that in your backyard?
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Well, there isn't much residential property right down there.
There's not today, but we've got to continue to look forward. I mean, we don't know what we're going to look like 50 years from now, and I want to be on this side of it personally.
Mayor and council, also want to remind you in your packets here, every which way you decide, staff's got a recommendation too. Want to be sure that you understand that we're asking for you to put a condition in there that lot 3 behind that back part, that they would not construct a freeway pole sign once this property's developed. They'll use this part of this monument sign for that.
Anyone wish to speak to this item?
You said the same thing that we were supposed to say, so. Just that to put the bigger sign, then we would put the other signs underneath it, so we don't have to have multiple signs on the street. Not the multiple tenant on one pile, we have multiple people putting pylons on the front street there. So that would deter from people seeing that too.
But doesn't necessarily have to be 60 feet.
No, that's just the standard of where they set it. They go in with the 60 feet and then you bargain from there. You know, you try to get what you can get and make allowance. So he's right, we do put some that are 100 feet high. It depends on the freeway.
Yeah, I mean, I try to look at that every time I come down 6 to think how tall would a sign have to be for me to see it for the exit and be above the tree line that's currently there. And I don't know that it's possible to, I mean, I guess it is. You could go as high as we could approve, I guess. But, yeah, that's difficult. But your people on 105 are gonna, at this point, drive right past it. I mean, we'll see it. There'll be no question about whether it's there.
I see it going all the way up that hill.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we will close the hearing at 7:35.
Well, I'm willing to swap 2 for 1 or 3 for 1 on that. Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the sign variance request submitted by KHR Properties for the Jack in the Box.
Now, do we want to include there that there will not be, that lot 3 directly behind will not construct it? Was that included?
Probably should.
Bernie?
Yeah.
With the condition. Yep, the last
With the condition that Lot 3 directly behind, Lot 3 will not construct a freeway pole sign once the property is developed and will only be limited to freestanding or monument sign.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Gessner, second by Mr. Holt, to approve the variance with the added verbiage regarding the property in the rear behind the area. Discussion?
I would just like to remind us that we're setting a precedent when we go higher than what we allow. And I think that going 20 feet above where we have already set where we should be, will make our town look more like other towns that we're trying to distinguish ourselves from.
Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
No.
One opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you for your time.
Yep.
Item 10, consideration and possible action to approve Resolution 733-23 supporting the City of Navasota Public Safety Office PSO grant application for the purchase of body-worn camera grant for the Navasota Police Department.
Mayor and Council, real quick, so the good thing about this grant is we added 3 new officers this year to the budget, and we already programmed in the budget for 3 cameras. So our grant coordinator, Yvette, was able to find this grant, and it's a great opportunity. So the matching is what we've already budgeted for those 3 officers. So basically, we're getting 9 body-worn cameras through this grant project that we don't have to pay anything for. And it's matched through the funds we're already going to have to spend for the 3 officers. So it's a great addition to our police department for this grant.
It's actually 12 body cameras.
Yeah.
not nine.
Total 12.
What's the usual life of these cameras?
Yeah, look back at the back there.
It can vary. We've had some cameras on patrol for about 4 years now, but they can vary due to weather, roughness, whatever.
That's a hell of an expense going through.
But it can save you.
Thank goodness there's grants.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve Resolution 733-23.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Fultz, second by Mr. Gessner to approve Resolution 733-23. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, item carried. Item 11, consideration of possible action to approve Resolution 732-23, supporting the City of Navasota Public Safety Office PSO grant application for the purchase of rifle-resistant body armor for the Navasota Police Department.
This one specifically doesn't have a match requirement, and we were able to get 25 rifle-resistant body armors for all of the officers to equip them with.
Now, you say that we got these?
We will be getting them.
We will be
This
getting-
is the resolution to move forward with it.
Is this an apply and you get it type thing, or are we competing with somebody for this?
There's other agencies applying, but we're pretty.
They obviously have a pretty big coffer, I think, that's
Mhm.
available.
It's a little over 65,000, so.
I like the no matching.
Me too. Mr. Mayor, I move we approve Resolution 732-23.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Fultz, second by Mr. Gessner to approve Resolution 732-23. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any approved? Any opposed? Seeing none, item carried.
Thank you.
Mayor, got a request, please.
Yes.
Can we move item number 16 up and consider that now?
Item 16, consideration and possible action to approve Resolution 735-23, supporting the City of Navasota General Land Office grant application for CDBG MIT method of distribution.
This one is also to submit the application to the GLO.
Yeah, that's for that, water and sewer, that's through grant work, right?
No, other management.
Yes, so this is the one through the COG that we've been working with. Again, it's the application process.
Yeah.
We've already been approved it, but there's a process we still have to walk through. And tonight's the deadline for this resolution.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve Resolution 735-23.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Fultz, second by Mr. Gessner to approve Resolution 735-23. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, item carried. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, I'm going back to what, 12?
Yes.
Consideration and possible action to award Knife River Corporation the contract for the fiscal year 21 and 22 street maintenance project, yay, in the amount of $377,828.20.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, Jose Coronilla, Assistant Public Works Director. Yeah, finally we got this done. Look, it's been so long I didn't have to wear reading glasses, now I have to wear it.
Lost your eyesight since we started talking about this, right?
Yeah. So, Mr. Mayor, as you see on the back, you kind of requested a map of all the streets that we're working on these projects. The green is the CIP, the Capital Improvement Project, and then the red one is the streets that we're actually looking at right now. All the streets on red is going to be the ones on this maintenance project. So, on April 17, 3 bids were received, with the lowest completed bid coming from Knife River Company of Bryan, Texas. Their bid was $377,828.20. Therefore, based on Knife River's bid total ability to perform and complete proposal, staff recommended that the contract for the 2022 street maintenance project be awarded to Knife River Company in the amount of $377,828.20. And if you have any questions on that.
And they're saying the total timeline's 3 months.
Yes, sir, 90 days.
Well, we've used Knife River before, and our latest dealings have been good, so.
Construction time was less than the planning and the engineering.
Yeah, it's like a third.
And it came under budget too, just FYI, so it's under budget.
Jose, didn't we, I mean, maybe my memory's wrong, but didn't we have a bad situation with Knife River on a previous project?
Yes, sir, there was.
Maybe 5, 6 years ago?
It was actually a lot longer than that. It was probably maybe 12 years ago.
I mean,
we did.
So when we used when we used to do those streets, the reconstruction street of them, we never had to do any hot mix. We always do the reconstruction ourselves, and we hired them to do the chip seal, which we don't do that anymore for the same reason. This is gonna be just the maintenance. So these streets already have asphalt before. And adding the chip seal to maintain them is definitely going to help us a lot. So there's no dirt roads anymore, so this is going to be, and yes, that's what the problem was before.
Yeah.
And,
well, I just want to make sure that we got whatever it was resolved and going into another.
Correct.
Well, and Knife River did the Washington, most recent, and they really worked with us very well on making sure we got the parking spaces done right, and so.
Yeah, we basically used two
and
contractors.
And they didn't have to, I mean, because that was a TxDOT project, so they didn't really have to.
Correct.
Listen to us, but they did.
Good deal.
So.
Yeah.
Let's get moving. I move we award the Knife River project, or the Knife River Corporation, the contract for fiscal year 21 and 22 street maintenance project in the amount of $377,828.20.
Second.
Motion and second. Further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, item carries. Thank you, Jose. Item 13, council shall meet in executive session in accordance with Texas Government Code, section 551.072, deliberation regarding real property for the purpose of discussion and deliberation regarding the City of Navajo's potential acquisition of real property for city projects purposes. Time 7:48. Item 14 will reconvene in open session at 8:10 p.m. I move that City Council create a committee of appointing two council members, Mr. Gessner and Mr. Fultz, to investigate and research potential acquisition of real property for city projects and city purposes.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, item carries. Thank you.